Spurs, Blazers, 8:30 start. These two teams combined for 10 straight wins. Remember the Spurs? They went 1-7 on their rodeo road trip. Well, they've won 7 straight since. That defense, look at that number. Opponents' points, hello, they woke up in that department. Karan, what do you attribute most to their current win streak, the Spurs?
Getting off the rodeo trip.
That's that simple, huh?
No, I think they've been so much different and more efficient. Had some time with Pop in Dallas, and we was talking about what is the biggest, change with the roster, and what are you seeing, and why have you guys been able to be so successful? And he said, isolation basketball, something that they haven't been accustomed to doing because they move the ball from side to side, player reaction, cutting, doing all those things. But you look at LaMarcus Aldridge, he's a guy that's a back down guy, back to the basket, and playing with the pick and pop and the pick and roll. He's able to make the 15, 17 footer. You look at, also DeRozan, where he's accustomed to, getting into his package and one of the best mid-range guys in the game of basketball, and also Rudy Gay. So when you have those guys, and then you have guys that's more than capable of knocking down shots, and Bellinelli and, guys like that, he's coaching the personnel, which we talked about, Nate McMillan. Yep. You make the adjustment. Your system is your system, but sometimes you have to make the adjustment to adapt to your players who you're coaching, and that's why he's one of the greatest coaches ever to do it, and that's exactly what he's doing going into the playoffs.
Is there another secret to this also on defense? I mean, offensively, Karan just broke it down recently for the Spurs, those 7 straight wins. Are you seeing anything with them defensively they're doing just better?
Yeah, when you look at the history of that franchise, we talk about the system, it's about the skill set. If you're a great one-on-one post defender, we're not double teaming. When certain guys are not great in the post, so now you have to double team and get full rotation to help out. So each team that Pop's had over the years, they won championships. One team's been a three-point shooting team. One team's been swing side to side like Karan talked about. This team offensively is more ISO, and defensively with LaMarcus Aldridge, depending on who that guy's posting up, he can guard one-on-one, and I think that's the difference.
And when we look at the playoff positioning with these two teams, we talked about a little bit earlier with the Nuggets and other teams out west, but for the Spurs, they're 27-7 at home, 9 games under 500 on the road. Again, in order to get home court advantage, at least in that first round, they got to get up to that 4 seed. Do you think for them, trying to move up just those 2 spots are paramount for their playoff success?
Yes, Chris, I think it's very paramount because this team's different. There's a lot of new faces, and they're trying to understand, yes, we've heard about the Spurs way, we've heard about the system, but until you get to it, in the way Pop has been able to tweak, not having DeJounte Murray all season long, not being able to have your true point guard, Pop's been able to tweak it. Having home court, I think, is paramount for this team because there's so many new faces, Tough Juice.
Man, I have to say, Chris, beggars can't be choosers, and you want to be able to get in. You want to be able to make that cut, and they're definitely going to make the playoffs, but, trying to get home court and all that, you just want to just be in the thick of it and, let the chips fall where they may. Look, Patty Mills, White, Bellinelli, all those guys are going to have out-of-body performances in order for you to go on a run. As you speaking, but they're playing good basketball. They're playing solid offensively and defensively, and that's something that you should be happy about if you coach Pop and the Spurs.
The link between these two teams, LaMarcus Aldridge, Damian Lillard just passed him in the Blazers' last game in total points for the franchise. Second most all-time in franchise history now. Damian Lillard only trails one. Clyde Drexler. There you go. So for Damian Lillard, looking at the Blazers, he's certainly the leader of this team. But those other guys on this year's squad have really fallen into place as an excellent supporting cast.
They really have, and I think it starts with him and ends with him. As he go, they go. Talked to Terry Stotts, and he just said how remarkable as a leader, Dame has been, and he expressed his interest, vocally. After Paul Allen passed away, God rest his soul, he just said, look, I want to be here. I want to continue to be here with the Portland organization and lead these guys, to the best of my ability. And, if we win the title here, so be it. If not, I still want to be here. I bleed Rip City. And that's just amazing to get that type of commitment from your leader. you know, with so much still going on with guys, you know, really ready to jump ships and join super teams. But he's all in with being a trailblazer.
Okay, so regular season, we've seen them have success over the past couple of years, but they were swept by the Pelicans last year, even though they had home court advantage in the first round. As a third seed, they've lost 10 straight playoff games. How do they turn that around?
Tough Juice. Is it Cantor? Is it Rodney Hood? Is it Nurkic? Is it Zach Collins? Is it Alfred Camino? Is it Jake Layman? Which 2 or 3 guys collectively? Really he's proved this year, right? Because we always talk about guys that you draft. How do you develop them and get them better? You bring in a free agent. You pick up somebody at the trade deadline that you got released. You picked up Rodney Hood and it's Cantor. Which 2 or 3 of those guys can play consistent for these last 3.5 weeks of the season and carry that confidence into the playoffs? I say it again for people just tuned in. We know what Dame and CJ are going to do. They're your all-stars. They're your max guys. But every championship we've seen the Warriors win the last couple of years, people forget about Barbosa in the first one. They forget about Bogut. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You always need a third and fourth guy because the superstars set the tone. When we look at the Cavaliers. People forget J.R. Smith won that Hawks series here by himself. LeBron took a rest to get ready for the finals. That's why role players, Nurkic, which one of those 2 or 3 guys, you talk about the out-of-body experience, right? Who does that for Portland right now?
I definitely feel like Nurkic could be that guy, or Aminu. You know, he's been more than capable.
More than capable.
But
what about Mo Harkless?
Yeah, Harkless definitely. I think he's solid. I mean, he can have a strong presence on the defensive end of the floor. But Rodney Hood, I think that's why they went and seeked him out, because this is a team that has to build. It's not probably going to happen in free agency.
Right.
You know, everybody has money. Everybody has cap space, and Portland's probably not the first place you think of when you think about destinations. But, you know, they build extremely well via trade. And they have a wealth of talent there right now to compete with anyone, and you have a great leader in Dame.
Well, a guy we talked about earlier, another